Good morning. Welcome to Griggs Reservoir. It's really great to see so many familiar faces today. It's a lot of folks I haven't seen in a long time. It's great to see you again. It's a little bit like a family reunion out here, so it's glad you could all come out and enjoy the event today. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Alan McKnight. I'm the director of the Columbus Recreation and Parks Department. Again, I want to welcome you here today. We're here today to recognize Mayor Greg Lashutka for his contributions to the city of Columbus and its citizens. Mayor Lashutka served as the 51st mayor of the city of Columbus from 1992 to 2000. He also served as the city attorney from 1978 to 1985. You'll hear more about his contributions as we go on with the program here. But located behind me is the Richards House. This is one of the oldest homes in the community of Columbus. The original structure dates to 1810, and it was built by Ebenezer and Lois Richards. It remained in their family until 1904, when it was acquired by the city for the construction of Griggs Reservoir. When the reservoir was completed in 1908, it became what was called the Dam Keeper's House. At that time, before technology allowed for it, we had to have someone here to open the valves up, let water down to the treatment facility, so the dam keeper actually lived in the house and managed the dam. Technology took over. It was no longer needed for that purpose, and it became a rental facility for a number of years for folks to live in, and fell into disrepair. But around 2008, the city's Public Utilities Department, and I know Greg Davies, the Director of Utilities, is here today, invested some money to secure the exterior of the facility while we tried to determine what the future use of this home would be. And working on that, we think we've got a great idea here. Thanks to the vision of Mayor Coleman, we're here today to announce how we will reutilize the Richards House and the park space around it. The plan is to renovate and enlarge the residence to become a rental space for meetings, events, and programs. In addition to the remodeling, we will restore an amphitheater, which is located about 300 yards north of the house, the old stone amphitheater. The combination of these two structures will provide us the opportunity to have events, programs, weddings, concerts, photo opportunities, and gatherings and meetings in the home. That tells you a little bit about the project. That project will start next spring, and we'll wrap it up next year and have a dedication ceremony at that time. But we want to just let you know what the plans were for this facility. But more important, we want to tell you about the man we're honoring with this new space. To get us started today, I want to introduce an elected official who's been here for many mayors. I think going back to Mayor Sensenbrenner, I understand. In fact, well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think he needs any further introduction. The greatest auditor in the country, Auditor Hugh Dorian.
I told the director to say in the world. He cut it back down to in the country. But, hey, thank you all for letting me join you today, and Greg in particular, thank you. I want to mention that I may be one of the few people around who had the privilege of working alongside of Greg in his public career when he was city attorney. From, if I remember, I made a note of it, Greg, as far back as 1978 through 1985. And in those 8 years as city attorney, he kept me out of jail all those years, which I'm very, very thankful for. And my family and my creditors thank Greg for that. And then again, as mayor from 1992 through 1999. You'll see a video here today where I and some others make some comments about Greg and his tenure. There are several things around Columbus and around the area that, you know, they're built into our culture now, and they're built into our economy, and they're built into our subsistence, and we take these things for granted as a simple part of the community. But I'll just mention a couple of things in the bricks and mortar style that had their genesis when Greg was mayor. As I said, a lot of people involved in these things, but Greg was the leader of the pack. He was the CEO, and he was the visionary. I don't mind saying that at all. He provided some wonderful leadership while he was in City Hall. But, you know, things that had their very beginnings when Greg was mayor. Anybody ever heard of a place called Easton? Well, that had its genesis under Greg. Anybody heard of anything called Polaris? That started under Greg Lashutka. Anybody heard of the Arena District? Think of the economic forces that these things are and the jobs they provide in Columbus, Ohio today. Anybody ever heard of hockey? It had its beginnings under Greg Lashutka. And as I said, these are some of the bricks and mortar factors that came and had their beginnings under the leadership of Greg. I think you will agree with me, far more important than the bricks and mortars that I cite, as important as they are. Greg's legacy to this community was, is, and will continue to be his integrity as a public official. He set an example for all of us, and I will tell you that I, for many, many years, and continue today, have a very sincere and great respect for Greg Lashutka. He was mayor during some trying times, a lot of challenges during, many of you will remember some of those challenges. I never knew a time that I ever thought Greg Lashutka failed to live up to integrity, the standard of integrity, and the standard of commitment to public service. He was a community-oriented guy. He thought about this whole city, and I saw him in some tough times and facing some tough challenges. So, Greg said to me, he said, it's an honor for him to have this area named after him. Well, believe me, it's an honor for me to have been associated with Greg Lashutka. And I'll just conclude these remarks, Greg, with a simple and sincere thank you to you, my friend.
Congratulations, Mayor.
Columbus has been such a growing city, in particular over the last 3 or 4 decades, so there are always challenges every day. One might say, is one more important than the other? And the answer is no, and they all affect our citizens directly. That's one characteristic of local government that appeals to a lot of us. You're dealing very directly with good people in this city, and Greg served them all well. I will tell you the characteristic of Greg Lashutka that I remember best is that he was always very caring about the city of Columbus and its citizens.
16 years in service for the city, 8 as city attorney, and now 8 as mayor certainly have been some of the richest moments.
He used to tell us at cabinet meetings, your job is to make sure that the city runs within your department. My job is to try to determine where this city is going or where it should be in the next 10 or 15 years. And I think that when you look back at things that may happen, you see what has happened in the downtown since Mike has been mayor, and some of those things, at least the precursors of them, were started with Greg.
What really was always compelling to me, and I have tried to take on and emulate in my leadership style, is fairness. So you could always count on him to be fair and reasonable and always loyal.
He started the Riverfront Development Corporation and then adopted the plan in 1998, and that really looked at the riverfront from OSU campus all the way through the downtown area down to Berliner Park. Some of the things that were envisioned in that plan that have come to fruition today were the Scioto Audubon Park, really some of the Scioto Mile development, some of the trail system, North Bank Park. So those all were great ideas that began during the Lashutka administration, and we're really benefiting from them today. I think one of the other big impacts from the Lashutka administration is the advancement of sports in Central Ohio and Columbus. He was very involved in bringing the Columbus Blue Jackets to Columbus and also in getting the arena built. So when you look at the sports efforts, bringing the Marathon Olympic trials was something that came to Columbus that were largely due to his efforts. So there's a lot of that legacy in terms of sports in Columbus and really putting Columbus on the map.
Both of us had a passion for sports in this community, and how could we really heighten and bring awareness to this community. And we knew that we had sports fans.
Greg is a pretty humble guy, but I think that it means a lot to him. It will leave a legacy of his administration and he himself.
I didn't screw anything up, I don't think. And sometimes that's about as good a result as anything else. And so, didn't screw it up and passed it along a little better than I found it.
I want to make sure that Greg Lashutka is remembered for all the good things he did for the city. Because the truth is, no one really understands the challenges that a mayor goes through other than another mayor. And I remember his time as mayor. And I remember him making the city better while he was mayor.
You didn't screw anything up. I was here. In 2000, the man who succeeded Greg Lashutka as mayor of our city, Michael B. Coleman. He started his public service career with our city as a member of city council, and then he served as president of council while Mayor Lashutka was in office. They successfully worked together as colleagues during those years for the good of Columbus, and they remain friends today. Because of that spirit, Mayor Coleman wanted to do something to recognize his counterpart, for whom he has a great deal of respect. To tell you more about that, please give a warm welcome to the current mayor of our city, Mayor Coleman.
Thank you. You know, there's no more difficult and frankly no more important job in America than that of a mayor of a major American city. It's where the rubber meets the road. It's not like Congress. It's not like the legislature, where you debate in circles, except for Steve. We love you, brother. We have a great congressman. And not a whole lot gets done. The job of a mayor is to get things done, to get results, to move the city ahead, to improve the quality of life. So there are two kinds of mayors in America. There are those mayors who hold the city back and make them worse. And then there are those mayors who move the city forward and make them better. Well, Greg Lashutka is the kind of mayor that moved the city forward and made it better. And we need to say thank you to Greg Lashutka. And so how do we say thank you? In words, but also in something that will last for generations. A tribute that will last long beyond his life, so that his great-grandchildren and his grandchildren can come and see and know how wonderful their granddad really was. And so I wanted to make sure that that was done for Greg Lashutka. He served this city wonderfully as a mayor for 8 years and a city attorney for another 8 years. So I had to think about what is it that we want to reflect this man's work while he did so well during his period. And so I said, you know what? We got to save this building. And I think it's important that this building be saved because it almost achieved the wrecking ball. And when I learned about it, actually from Mary Ellen O'Shaughnessy, I said, let's save this building. It's a great building. Let's do something with it. And I thought about Greg Lashutka, who's a thinker. We all know he's a thinker. You know, he passed those books around, right? Yeah, I got a lot of those books. I want you to read this. Think about it. Okay. You know, and actually the truth is, Greg and I go a long way back, back to when I had hair and it was dark. And when he was city attorney, I was a legislative assistant. And I want to tell you a few tidbits before he gets up here. And I wrote my first memo to him to ask him about something, and I misspelled his name. So he called me in. I was scared to death. I sat in his office. He said, Michael, you misspelled my name. I said, really? And he showed me the memo. I don't know what it was about, but I had misspelled his name. I'll never forget that. I never misspelled his name again. I remember once in the 1980s, I didn't know that Mayor Lashutka was so cool, that standing in the line at a James Brown concert, where was it, Newport. Greg Lashutka was right behind me. And we went in it together, and we had a great time at a James Brown concert. It was a wonderful night. But one of the big things I remember, and this goes to the integrity of Greg Lashutka and how much he cares about this city, was really one of the most trying days in my lifetime as mayor, as a human being. And that was 9/11. On that day, our nation was attacked, and we did not know at the time that Columbus wasn't the next. Did not know that. In fact, we were planning as if we were next in those morning hours of 9/11. And I got a call from Greg Lashutka. Greg said, if you need any help, I'm there to help. That said a heck of a lot about how much this man cares about this city. In the cities, in my most crisis moment, he calls and offers a helping hand. So, Greg, I want to say thank you for all your work that over the years, since you've been mayor, while you were city attorney, and how you have made such a great contribution to making this city a better place to live, to work, and to raise a family. And I think it's important to recognize former mayors. Buck Reinhardt, we did the utilities building. Tom Moody, we did a police station. But I thought about something special for Greg Lashutka, some place where you can come and contemplate. You can put his stuff up. As mayor, you get all this stuff. I know you got a lot of stuff, don't you? I don't even have to ask you. I know it. You got a lot of stuff. You can put his stuff here that we can all come and see and remember those days where the city was prospering under his leadership. Greg, I want to say thanks for everything. And now I want to come over here, and you and I are going to unveil this plaque. So, Greg, I also want to give you this plaque. The Gregory S. Lashutka, and Lashutka is spelled right. At Griggs Reservoir.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That plaque will also go on the building as well. All right, great.
Thank you. On a nice day like this, I don't know what you people are doing here, actually. I say that tongue-in-cheek because I'm really humbled, and when Mayor Coleman took the time to say, I'd like to do this, I really was hoping that wouldn't occur, but he was pretty adamant, And I thought it would be appropriate to do it for a wide variety of people other than me. But I am truly humbled, and I appreciate this day. And brevity should be the soul of wit, so I'm not going to talk too long. Moving on a little bit. But Mike, I remember those days, and it was B.B. King, actually, and it wasn't James Brown. I'll defer to the mayor.
Gregory did two of them.
He was surprised, and I was surprised, but it was great because it was a great concert, and it's a little bit about what Columbus is all about. I love this city. It is a special place, and it's not just the city of Columbus because it is the largest city that leads the way with the perimeter in central Ohio is going well. And one of the rocks has been Mike Coleman. He has followed the legacy of Jim Rhodes and Mayor Sensenbrenner and Tom Moody and Buck Reinhardt. And I was fortunate enough to have the honor to lead, but it's a team effort at the end of the day. But I appreciate your kind words, Mike. Thank you very much. To Hugh Dorian, my friend, we do go back a long ways, and we have gone through the good times and the challenging times, and those have not always been easy, but the city has, as somebody smarter than I have, cities either go up or they go down. We've been on the rise for a long time, and that's a tribute to all of you in this audience and others who are not here today. To Alan McKnight and the great Recreation and Parks, and he comes from a legacy of why our community is important, and to the people and staff he works with, to his predecessors. They are a fun group, and they do good things, and they're always underfunded and overachieved, so it goes on. I played for a man named Woody Hayes, and You Win with People. That was the book he wrote, and he believes that, so I'd like to take a moment and just thank some of the people, starting with my wife. Catherine is the matriarch of the family, and the family, for anybody who's elected official, is the rock that allows it to take place, and she has served that so well. And so, Catherine, thank you for indulging me as we went through interesting times. And son number one, Nicholas, is here with his wife, Megan, and Laura, daughter number one. And we have, of the grandkids, 5 of the 7, and going in order, Kendall, Kuiper, Piper, Duke, and the Quinn. So other 2 are cabooses, and they're not here. But thank you so much, because the love that comes from the family, that's when you go home. And sometimes they get the brunt of what is going wrong. They shouldn't, but that's just the way it works, and you got to learn how to get over that. And with Catherine's help, I figured that out in making that work. There are many office holders who I work with at City Hall. At the City Attorney's Office, it was a wonderful group. We were spirited. We had a great run of 8 years. I would like those who I serve with in the City Attorney's Office to stand and stay standing, if you would, just for a little bit. I promise you won't take long. John Bentine, come on, rise up. Lisa Sadler. Stay standing. Thank you all very much. Those in the mayor's office, if you would please stand and be recognized and stay standing for a moment. I really appreciate all the work that took place and made this happen. But you know, the good things that happen with that partnership that was mentioned at the federal, the state, and local level. And so all those who are elected officials or have, please, Leslie, stand up, stay standing. All those of you who have served in public life, please stand, because you have helped in this partnership to make this work, and I greatly want to thank you. I notice Fran Ryan, Matt Habish is in the back. Thank you so much for Marianne O'Shaughnessy, thank you. And Steve Stivers, the partnership that has worked out. Herschel Craig has always been good. We've always worked in a way that was nonpartisan. We had our perspectives, and they were vigorous at times, but we always put the city first. Please sit if you would. Laced between those years of public service was also time with the the former probate judge, Larry Belskis, practicing law, Squire Sanders and Dempsey, because I did things in 8-year chunks roughly. Nobody wanted me for more than 8 years except my wife and family on a good day. Nationwide, which worked out well, and now Finley Davies, where I have a wonderful relationship as we work with people, issues, making it work. This is not just football time, but it's also baseball time. And Lou Gehrig said, I am the luckiest man in the entire world. And I have been. I've been in business, I've been in law, I've been in public life, I've had great family. But it's you, the people of Columbus, who have returned it manyfold. And I really appreciate everything everybody in this audience has done and made it special. So let me conclude saying I love this city. It has been a great honor to have served. It is, as I said, I don't think I screwed anything up, although Hugh said the jury's still out as we were walking off. So we'll wait a little longer and see if anything happens. So Arch, you understand how passionate it is about this city. And as we look at the things that have taken place, we are the envy of a good number of people. Thank you so much for coming today. God bless you. Go Bucks and go Columbus. Let's have a nice time afterwards. Thank you very much.